This is Soul Signal, where the soul comes to rest. My name is Patrice. In a moment, a story will begin. You don't need to do anything with it. You don't need to remember it or carry it or learn from it. Only let it move through you, the way water moves through open hands. If something in your life is breaking open right now, tonight we rest inside that. Not to fix it, just to let it be what it is. Before the descent, the breath. Place both hands on your belly, beloved. Feel the warmth there. That warmth is not contingent on anything holding together. Not on the plan working. Not on the life staying the shape it was. Not on you having answers to the questions that have been arriving lately in the quiet hours. The warmth is simply there. It has been there through everything. It will be there through this. Let your shoulders fall. Whatever is breaking open right now will still be what it is in the morning. You do not have to hold it together tonight. You do not have to stop it. You do not have to understand it before you are allowed to rest. Sometimes the breaking open is the thing. Tonight, we go inside that. 3 rounds. Slow. The ancient stone is cool. The lapis light is low. The gate is open. Round 1. Inhale through your nose for 4 counts. Like drawing breath from ancient cool air. The air of a place that has held many descents and many returns. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold for 7. Let the breath reach the places that are falling. Let it settle there. Not to stop the falling, to be present in it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Exhale through soft lips for 8. Let the grip go. The grip on how things were. The grip on the version of yourself you thought you were going to be by now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Round 2. Inhale for 4. Gathering courage from every woman who has descended before you and returned. Hold for 7. Let the earth hold you the way it holds everything. Completely. Without requiring you to be useful first. Exhale for 8. Releasing the story that falling apart is the opposite of building. Round 3. Inhale for 4. The gate is a doorway, not an ending. Hold for 7. Trust the descent. Exhale for 8. Let the ancient earth receive what you can no longer carry. Now let your breathing return to its own rhythm, the oldest rhythm, the one that knows how to keep going even when nothing else does. Feel the bed beneath you, ancient as the earth, solid as stone, unchanged by what is changing in you. Your jaw can release, your throat, your shoulders. They have been holding the construction of a life that may be in the process of becoming something different. They can put it down. Your hips wide and settled. Your hands open. Your feet resting at the edge of the first gate. It is open. It has been waiting for you. If it feels right, let these words move through you the way lapis light moves through stone. Slowly, through the material itself, illuminating from within rather than from above. Ancient God, keeper of the gates, Spirit who descends and returns and calls it completion. Meet me here tonight at the first gate, in the breaking open, where I have been trying to stop the falling. Remind me that the falling is the beginning of arriving. Where I have been afraid of what I might find at the bottom. Remind me that Ianna found herself there, complete, without the crown, without the measuring rod, without anything except what she actually was. Tonight, I do not ask for the falling to stop. I ask only for the courage to trust where it is taking me. And so the gate opens. And so it holds. She had everything. This is the part the stories always say first, as if it explains the rest. As if having everything should have been enough to keep her from the gate. Ianna had everything. Queen of heaven and earth. Both worlds hers. Power in the upper and the lower. Beauty that made the stars pause. A name spoken at every threshold. This is the part the stories get wrong, beloved. They tell it as if something happened to her, as if she was taken, as if the descent was done to her. She chose it, not because she was reckless, not because she was ungrateful for what she had, not because she was broken or failing or falling apart, because something in her understood that the Queen of heaven and earth, who had never been to the underworld, was not yet the full queen. That completion required the descent. That the version of herself she was becoming could not be reached from above. She had to go down to find it. She chose the gate. The first gate was stone, ancient stone, worn smooth where countless hands had touched the frame on their way through. The gate did not look like a judgment. It looked like a doorway, because that is what it was. The gatekeeper held out her hand. The crown of heaven. The thing that said, in every room she entered, I am the queen. I am the one with authority here. I am the one who has arrived. She took it off. It was heavier than she expected. Not in her hands. She had held it for years. In the giving. The heaviness of something that has been part of your identity for so long that you forget it is something you are wearing and begin to believe it is something you are. She placed it in the gatekeeper's hands and stepped through. What is the crown you are wearing, beloved? Not literally. The identity marker that has been so much a part of how you present that you have forgotten it is something you put on. The capable one, the one who handles it, the one who has it together, the one who does not fall apart. The role that has been so consistent for so long that it has become your name in rooms where your actual name is rarely used. The crown. Heavy. Real. And possibly, in the breaking open of this season, being asked to be laid down. Not permanently. Not as failure. As part of the descent. As the first gate. As the beginning of arriving at something that the crown-wearing version of yourself could never reach. At the base of the gate, coiled in the warm ancient stone, a serpent. Gold. Not the bright gold of new things. The deep gold of things that have been in the earth since before the gates were built. Since before anyone had a word for descent. Since before the first woman came to the first gate and laid down the first crown. Its eyes were open. Ancient. Holding the kind of knowledge that comes from having witnessed every descent this gate has ever seen, and every return. Not judging, not frightening, just present, at the gate, for every woman who has come through. The witness of the going down and the coming back. It had seen them all, and it was still here, which meant they had all come back. At the second gate, she laid down her earrings. Small things, the kind of beautiful small things that told the world she had chosen herself carefully, that she had attention to give even to the minor details of her presentation, that she was someone who noticed what was worth noticing and adorned herself accordingly. She placed them in the gatekeeper's hand and walked through. What are your earrings, beloved? The small signals you send about who you are. The carefully maintained minor presentations that say, I am someone who has it together even in the details. The always put together. The consistently composed. The one who never lets them see how much the keeping it together costs. In the breaking open, some of the small signals are going. The composure that was performed. The certainty that was maintained. Lay them down at the second gate. They will be here if you need them. Tonight, you don't. At the third gate, she laid down her necklace. The one she had worn for so long, it had become part of how she thought of herself in the mirror. Without it, she felt exposed, more visible than she wanted to be. The particular vulnerability of a throat that is not adorned, not protected by the beautiful weight of what it usually carried. She gave it and walked through. The necklace is the protection story, beloved. The thing that says, yes, I am vulnerable here, but I have adorned the vulnerable place so you may not notice. In the breaking open, the protection is coming off. The throat is exposed. The vulnerable place is visible. This is not weakness. This is the third gate. The gate where the protection is laid down so the real thing can breathe. At the fourth gate, she laid down her breastplate, the armor, the thing between her heart and the world that had required her heart to be managed, protected, not exposed to direct contact with things that might move it unexpectedly. She gave it without ceremony and felt the air on her chest for the first time in years. Cool, direct. The world touching her where she lived without the management in between. She had forgotten what that felt like. The breastplate is how long you have been managing the distance between yourself and what moves you, beloved. The professional competence that kept everything at a safe degree of arm's length. The emotional regulation that meant you rarely let anyone see when something landed. In the breaking open, the armor is coming off. Not because you chose it dramatically, because the descent requires it. Because you cannot arrive at the bottom still armored. The bottom only meets you when you are real. At the fifth gate, she laid down her ring, the marker of her relationships, the visible proof of the bonds she had made and maintained and built her life around. This one was harder, not because it was more valuable than the others, because it was more intertwined. The other things had been hers alone. This one had other people in it. other histories, other versions of herself that existed only in relation. She held it for a moment before giving it. The gatekeeper waited, without impatience. The gates do not hurry you. They only hold open what you need to pass through. The timing is yours. She gave it and walked through. This gate is the relationships, beloved, not the people. The people remain. The version of yourself that exists only in relation to them. The daughter self, the mother self, the partner self, the friend self, the one people count on. The breaking open sometimes means these selves are being reorganized, not lost, reorganized. They will be returned, changed when you come back through the gates. At the 6th gate, she laid down her lapis lazuli breastband, the thing that had held her shape in a particular way for a very long time. The structure that said, "This is the form of me. This is how I am contained. This is the shape that makes me recognizable." Here she stopped. At the 6th gate, the one before the last. She stopped and turned back and looked at the way she had come. The 5 gates behind her, each one a doorway she had walked through, each one a thing she had laid down, that she had believed she could not do without. And she was still here, still herself, without the crown, without the earrings, without the necklace and the breastplate and the ring. Still here, still Ianna, still something. She couldn't name it yet. What was left when so much had been laid down? But it was real. She could feel it. More present now than before the 1st gate. Less decorated. More actual. This is not the moment to stop the falling. This is the moment to trust where it is taking you. She turned back to the 6th gate, laid down the breastband, walked through. At the 7th gate, the last gate, she laid down the lapis lazuli measuring rod. This one she felt. The measuring rod. The tool she had used to assess where she was against where she should be. How she was doing compared to the woman she had expected to become by now. How she measured against the plan, against the timeline, against the version of herself she had been building toward since before she knew what building was. The measuring rod. She had been carrying it the whole time, through every gate, even as she gave everything else away. The last thing, the measuring rod. You know this rod, beloved. The measuring. Am I where I should be? Have I done enough? Is this what I was supposed to become? Am I behind? Did I miss the window? Is the life I have built the right size for the person I was supposed to be? The rod you have been holding that has never once come back with an answer that felt sufficient. The measuring that has been running underneath everything. Lay it down. At the 7th gate. The last gate. The one that opens into the bottom. Into the place where there is nothing left to measure yourself against, except what you actually are. She laid it down. The golden serpent was waiting at the 7th gate. It had moved through the gates ahead of her, she understood. It had been at each one before she arrived. And now it was here, at the last gate, coiled in the ancient stone, its gold deep and warm. It looked at her, without the crown, without the earrings, without the necklace, the breastplate, the ring, the breastband, the measuring rod. It looked at what remained, and something in its ancient eyes said, yes, this is what was there the whole time. This is what the crown was covering. This is what the measuring rod could never have measured because it could not be measured. This was Ianna. The bottom was quiet. Not the silence of absence. The silence of something that does not need to announce itself. The silence of what remains when everything decorative has been laid down. She was there, without anything, and she was more herself than she had been at any gate. She didn't have words for it yet. The experience of being stripped to the actual thing was not a thing that arrived with language. It arrived with the quality of presence, a density, a realness. The sensation of taking up the exact amount of space she actually was. Not more, not performed larger, not managed smaller, just the amount of space she was. This is what the breaking open is moving you toward, beloved. Not the destruction of what you built, the discovery of what was always underneath. The version of yourself that does not require the crown to be real, that does not require the measuring rod to know her value, that does not require the armor to face what moves her. She is at the bottom. She has always been at the bottom, waiting for the descent to reach her. This is not collapse. This is construction without the noise. The golden serpent was with her, coiled in the ancient stone floor of the bottom, its gold moving slowly, a breath rhythm, the same rhythm it had had at the first gate and every gate after, unchanged by the descent, as if the serpent existed at the same depth in every place, at the surface and the bottom simultaneously, not troubled by the in-between. She understood something she had not understood at the first gate. The serpent had not been following her. It had been leading. The whole descent, it had been slightly ahead, not pulling her forward, just already there, at each gate, at the bottom, the living proof that this place was reachable, that the way down was also a way. She would return. She knew this. Not because anyone told her, because the bottom was not the end. The bottom was the turn, the place where the direction changed, the place where you stopped going down and the ascent became possible. Not yet. Tonight was for the bottom, for the being here, for the discovering what remained when everything that could be laid down had been laid down. And what remained was real, and it was hers, and it had been hers the whole time. Let me bring you somewhere simple now. Not the gates, not the bottom, just this room, this quiet, this body that is in the middle of a descent it did not consciously choose and cannot consciously stop. You are not falling apart, beloved. You are descending. There is a difference. Falling apart is random. Falling apart has no direction, no gate, no ancient serpent leading the way. The descent has gates. It has direction. It has a bottom and a turning point and a return. What you are in right now is not falling apart. It is construction without the noise. Feel the weight of your body, the shoulders releasing, the chest soft, the hands open. Nothing to grip tonight. The gates only ask for the giving. The gripping delays the passage. The jaw soft. The feet resting. Somewhere in the ancient myth that is also your life, Ianna is at the bottom, without her crown, without her measuring rod, without anything except what she actually is. And the golden serpent is with her. And she is more herself than she has ever been. And the return is already beginning. Not tonight, not yet, but beginning. The way all returns begin, quietly, in the dark, before anyone notices. The crown will be returned. The measuring rod will be returned. Everything laid down at the gates will be there when she passes back through. But she will receive them differently, as things she wears, not things she is. That is the gift of the descent. The knowledge in the body of what you are when none of the things you thought you were are on you anymore. I am not falling apart. I am descending. The bottom is the turning point, not the end. What I am without all of it, that is what I am. The return is already beginning. I am not falling apart. I am descending. The story becomes ancient stone now, becomes the deep earth that has held every descent and every return, since the first woman walked through the first gate, becomes the lapis, light, low, and blue, and steady at the bottom. Ianna is at the bottom, the golden serpent beside her, the gates above, the return ahead, and she is complete. May the descent you are in be held by the same ancient earth that has held every other. May the gates you are walking through take only what is ready to be laid down. May the bottom, whenever you reach it, show you what has been true all along. Sleep now, beloved. The golden serpent is leading the way. The earth is holding you. The return is already written in the structure of the gates themselves. Descending, held, home. Rest here as long as you need. The story has done its work. You don't have to hold it. You can let it go the way you let a breath go, completely, without watching where it goes. Soul Signal will be here when you return. There are more stories waiting, more nights like this one. Until then, may you dream in light. May you wake in grace. And may you always know you are the signal.